Welcome to today's Garage Devotional. I'm Pastor Ted from Connect Church. Today we continue our series in the strange, weird, and unique Bible passages. And we're going to be looking at this thought: seeing Jesus more clearly helps us see ourselves more clearly. Today's unique Bible passage is found in Psalms 119, verses 73 through 74. But before we dive in, let's look at today's strange, weird, and unique car. Today's car is a 1973 Reliant Robin. It has a fiberglass body with 3 wheels and would easily tip on its side if you turn too quickly. It was produced in England between 1973 and 1981, although it had a comeback production from 1989 to 2001. The thought behind the design was that it provided ways for Englanders, remember it's an English car, to drive with only a motorcycle license. Amazingly, the Robin Reliant fit 4 people, but not very comfortably, and amazingly, the top speed was 85 miles an hour. Last weird and amazing fact about the Reliant Robin is that it's the second highest selling fiberglass car in history, with 63,000 sold. It trails the top selling, which is the Chevy Corvette. So the Corvette is the standing champion for fiberglass cars produced, but the Reliant Robin is second. That is amazing to me. Well, let's take a look at today's passage. Again, it is Psalm 119, 73 through 74. Fun fact, though, Psalm 119 is the longest psalm in the Bible, and each stanza starts with a letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And it's all about the Word of God. It's all about the Word and what the Word teaches us and empowers us. So let me read the verses. You made me, you created me. Now give me the sense to follow your commands. May all who fear you find in me a cause for joy, for I have put my hope in your word. I chose the New Living Translation because for me it brings out the message of the psalmist so vividly. Here we see very clearly that Jesus has created us. And we need to remember that. We are not just a happenstance. We are not a mistake. We are not just a planned thing of our parents. That Jesus created the world and everything in it. And he creates us uniquely in our lives. We are not a mistake. Rather, we are uniquely designed with our combination of talents and abilities. You and I have a purpose as well as we are connected to all of humanity. We have a purpose. How we see Jesus affects how we see ourselves. And we need to see ourselves as Jesus sees us. Now, the second sentence is the part that really grabs me. Now, give me the sense to follow your commands. I mean, that makes me laugh, as well as it makes me stop and reflect. Am I doing what Jesus is asking me to do? Do I have the common sense? Do I have the common sense to follow Jesus? Do I have the common sense to follow his word? Do I have the common sense to live like he wants me to live? And so that's why it makes me laugh when it says, when the psalmist is asking, give me the sense to follow your commands, to follow your words. I am a true follower of Jesus when I'm following his words in the Bible. So I want to ask, are we following Jesus' commands and his words every day? We need to apply them every day. We need to follow them every day. That'll enrich our lives. That'll empower our lives. That'll resource our lives. It'll give us a better life all around in us. I'm using the sense Jesus has given me. Am I using the sense, let me say it that way, am I using the sense that Jesus has given me and that he leads me and I let him to lead me in his word? Am I using the sense that Jesus gives me? I have to think about that for a while. Jesus gives us common sense, and he helps us grow in common sense. Are we using that sense? Are we using that foundation of the word that he gives us? We are to We are to keep his words. We are to keep his commandments, his purposes for our life. We are to keep them. And for your life, you are to keep them. It brings stability. It brings health. It brings longevity. It brings all these things in our life. But do we have the common sense? That's the psalmist saying here. Give me the common sense to do this, to apply this, to use this. I've included verse 74 because it shows us those who fear Jesus, or those who reverence Jesus, might be a better way to put it. Those who reverence Jesus will see in every day that we have life lessons, that if we reverence Jesus every day, we will see and learn life lessons that produce joy in us and also help others to see that joy in us. I have to ask myself, what percentage in my life every day am I projecting joy because I am following Jesus' words and I'm reverencing him? I have a holy reverence for him. And what percentage of my daily life do I show no joy because I'm just weighed down with the thoughts and cares of this world, instead of being lifted up in joy because of the word of God and who Jesus is and how he has created me, so that joy would be reflected more in my life. So am I using that common sense? Am I reverencing Jesus every day? Where if I am, then life lessons are being taught to me every day. Am I putting my hope in Jesus and his word? If I do, then that brings joy. This verse also shows us that others will find joy and will find hope through us as they look into our lives. If our lives are reflecting the word of Jesus, as our lives are reflecting in a very common sense way who Jesus is and who we are, they will find joy and hope in our lives. Let's stop with three short thoughts or applications. One, you are uniquely created. You are a one-off creation. Each one of us are different. You, like all of us, have certain limitations because of the brokenness of sin, but our limitations do not stop us from Jesus' purpose and plans for our lives. What are the gifts and talents and abilities that Jesus has given you? Start using them. Start stepping into your unique gifts and talents and personality and abilities more than you ever have. You are uniquely created. Second, let's determine to develop our sense of understanding of Jesus' word and of his purposes more than ever before. Let's determine to develop our sense of understanding of Jesus' word and purposes more than ever more. This comes from reading the words of Jesus, from listening to the words of Jesus, and applying the words of Jesus to every part of our lives. Knowledge without understanding and application is like a boat without an engine or sails or oars. We will just be pushed around with the currents and winds and storms of this world, never reaching our goal or our purpose or our destination if we do not determine to apply the words of Jesus in action in our life. And lastly, remember, true joy comes from a heart and life of reverence or of holy awe of the majesty and beauty of Jesus. Worship cultivates a holy awe in our lives. I want to be challenged to worship Jesus more, so I have more of that holy awe or that holy presence of Jesus. Will you join me in cultivating a holy awe through worshiping Jesus this week? I encourage you to do that. Lord bless you. We'll see you next week.